We're now going to move on to the permanent French look with the quick dip system, and we're going to do one nail with a French white tip, and we're going to do the other one building the permanent French in with white acrylic powder. So we'll start with the easy method first. So once your client has washed her hands, we're just going to spray the nails with anti-back spray and prepare it for the tip. So once the antibacterial spray has dried out on the nail, we're just going to prepare the nail plate and the free edge for the tip and the coating. So just make sure that the free edge is nice and round so that it fits into the small well of the French tip, and we're just going to lightly buff the top of the nail. Now you can see here that we've got a broken cuticle, so we're going to have to be very careful there, but you can also see at the top here there's a little bit of pterygium on the nail. Now we need to get rid of that or the coating is going to lift at that end. So just very gently take your file across just until there's no sign of that. Make sure the whole nail is chalky white, even though we're going to be using a French tip and it's only going to be going on the very edge, we still need to prepare the rest of the nail for the artificial coating. We've just got a tiny bit more pterygium there to get rid of. Now the well in these French tips is very, very small, so we're not going to be covering as much of the nail as we do with the natural tips. Just going to make sure that this fits snugly side to side. Now we can take it all the way down to where the tip butts up onto the free edge of the nail, or we can take it up a little bit to make the body of the nail look a little bit longer. Just don't have it too far towards the edge or the whole thing will fall off. So we're just going to fill that little well of the tip up with either the bonding resin or your nail glue, and we're going to slide it down the nail until we hear it click, and then we're going to decide where to position it. And I've pulled it down just a little bit so that the nail bed is going to look a little bit longer. Now you can do this technique with any coloured nail. This is just the French look, but you can get glitter tips or coloured tips and it works exactly the same way. Now that the tip is bonded to the natural nail, we're going to cut it back to the length required, and this particular model wants her nails quite short. Once the tip has been clipped back, all we need to do is file the free edge. Make sure the sides are nice and straight, and then we're just going to very gently buff the top of the white tip so that the artificial coating will stick to it. There's no blending at all to be done with these tips because you want to keep that nice crisp smile line. Just taking the sides in a little, and I'm going to shorten this just a little bit more because the client wants these nails quite short. So now we have no shine on that little bit of white nail at all, and the whole nail is now ready for the next step, which is the acrylic powder and the building resin. So at this point the nail is now ready for the artificial coating. So we've got all of the shine off the tip, and you've got two ways you can go depending on what your client would like. We can do the whole thing with a clear powder, or we can fill in the nail bed area with a blush powder and then put a clear powder over the top. I'm going to do it with the blush powder. It gives it a little bit more of a French look. So just take your building resin and just fill that little area between the tip and the cuticle with the resin. It doesn't need very much. Keep it away from the edges and the cuticles because it is going to spread a little bit when we dip it into the powder. Dip it into the blush powder and just shake off any excess. Then we're going to take the building resin again and we're going to go over the whole nail. Now just be careful that you don't push the brush into the powder too much and dint it, making sure that whole nail and the white tip has been covered. We're going to take our clear powder and dip the nail into that, and then again just shake off the excess, and then we're going to give it one more coat of the building resin. Again, making sure that it doesn't spill down into the cuticles. And then to dry it off, just a light spray with the activator. Now once the activator has dried the building resin, if you just rub your finger or your hand over it, you'll feel that there's no tacky residue left. All we've got to do is smooth the top of the nail and perfect the shape. So we're going to start up at the cuticle end, and we're just very gently going to smooth the product down. Checking the free edge, we want that to come down and become a little bit thinner. So just tipping our file up on a little bit of an angle, and then just lightly rub the file over the rest of the nail to make sure there's no dints or lumps in the product at all. Making sure the sides are nice and straight. And you can see that there's not very much filing that you have to do on these nails at all. Now when you first start, of course, it's not going to be as good as it will be after you've had some practice. It will get easier. So once you've finished with your 100 grit file, just lightly run over it with your block buffer. And then bring it up to a nice shine with your chamois buffer. Finish off with some cuticle oil. So now that we've got our finished nail, we need to just check against our file to make sure that we've got a nice C-curve. We need to check down the nail to make sure that it's all even. Make sure there's no little bits of nail left underneath. Just pull those out with your file. And there we have a permanent French with the quick dip system with a white tip. We're now going to move on and do the permanent French with the white acrylic powder.